Hi, welcome to lesson 2. We've been looking at Indian rhythms, and this is another Indian instrument. This is the Kanjira, which is a traditional lizard skin tambourine from the south of India. This is actually the tunable Remo version, a fantastic drum. Highly recommend getting hold of one of these. Very easy to sort of take around and sort of use anywhere really. A very versatile drum. And a lot of the rhythms you find on it are very idiomatic and particular to the south of India. In the last lesson, we looked at modulating 1.5 times the speed for different units. It's also very common that rhythms are shifted on and off the beat in different ways, and that's what we're going to look at in this lesson. Now, I'm just going to play a short piece on the Kanjira, which kind of shifts the rhythm around in a similar way that we're going to look at in the lesson. Again, that piece was entirely in 4/4. One of the characteristics of it was the fact that it was using 15-beat phrases, and then you're kind of going off beat by a 16th note each time. It's actually one of the first things that I learned when I began studying Carnatic rhythm, and is a really useful tool for learning to put different phrases off the beat. So we're going to start by using 2 units, the 4-beat unit and the 3-beat unit. And we're going to have 4-4-4-3, adding up to 15. Just with the straight syllables, takadimi for the 4 and takita for the 3. Now, if we repeat this 4-4-4-3 4 times, it will come back around onto the beat. So let's try that. Takadimi, 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 takita, takadim, takadimi, takadimi, takita, takadim, takadimi, takadimi, takita, takadim, takadimi, takadimi, takita, da. A little bit slower. Now this is obviously 15 notes long because you're repeating the 15-16 phrase 4 times. Takadimi, takadimi, takadim, takita, takadimi, takadim, takadimi, takita, takadim, takadimi, takadimi, takita, takadim, takadimi, takadimi, takita, 1. So we want to use this in 4/4, so we're going to slightly amend it. As I said, this is 15 notes long, so if we add 1 quarter note or 4 16th notes, then it's going to become a regular 4/4 length. So the fourth time, we're going to have 4-4-4-4-3. Takadimi, 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 takita. And it will sound like this, and it will be in 4/4. Takadimi, 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 takita, takadim, takadimi, takadim, takita, takadimi, takadim, takadimi, takita, takadim, takadimi, 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 takita, 1. The clapping cycle that I'm using is called Adi Tala clapping cycle, and is one of the slightly more complex clapping cycles that you find in South India. It involves using a clap, the fingers, and waves as well. So it's one of the more complex clapping cycles. Bear in mind there are literally hundreds of different clapping cycles that are used in modern day India. So there are lots of different clapping cycles that people are using in performance. So The other way to resolve it into 4/4 is to have something that we call a T-high. Now, T-high is a basic rhythmic phrase repeated 3 times, calculated so as to end on the first beat. There's going to be more about this in another lesson, but just quickly to introduce you to the concept, the T-high that we're going to have involves the 5-beat unit and a single ta. Ta-ti, kita, tum, ta. So 3 times, tati kita tum ta, tati kita tum ta, tati kita tum ta. And we're going to have that after 3 repeats of the 4/4/4/3. And it'll be like this. Takadimi, 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 takita, takadim, takadimi, takadimi, takita, takadim, takadimi, takadimi, takita, tati kita tum ta, tati kita tum ta, tati kita tum ta. Ending on beat 1. Now we're going to look at voicings for these on the drum set in a while. There are lots of different ways you can approach it. So let's move over to the drum set and we'll start to look at some voicings for these patterns. Now we're going to begin applying some of these rhythms to the drum set. We've got 2 units so far in this rhythm example, a 4-beat unit and a 3-beat unit. We're going to apply a paradiddle sticking, a paradiddle based sticking to the 4s, and the 3s will either be right, left, left, or left, right, left, depending on where they fall in the composition. So we're going to have right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left. And then the first half of the paradiddle, right, left, right, right. That's the 4/4/4. And then for the 3, we're going to have left, right, left. Now remember at the end we had 4/4/4/4/3. So we're going to have the whole paradiddle twice, plus right, left, left. And it was going to be like this. So I'm just going to turn the metronome on. It's going to be about 114 BPM. And we're just going to play it on the snare drum with the click to begin with. It's an amazing thing, so useful to learn to play with the click properly. Really, you have to spend a lot of time working with the click, and it really does benefit your playing. And some of these instruments now, such as the 2-box drum kit, have an onboard click, so it kind of makes practicing a lot easier. And then next up, what we're going to do is we're going to add a simple foot pattern. To begin with, just right, left, on the quarter notes. And then similarly, we can extend that foot pattern to 2 eighth notes on the bass drum and the hi-hat. We can then begin to move around and start to put some of these voicings out onto the toms. So let's look at a simple paradiddle with the accents on the toms. So we're going to have right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, left. So you see at the end, we've got the whole paradiddle plus right, left, left. And it will sound something like this. We can then begin to put in our various foot patterns, such as this. We could then begin to use other paradiddle combinations where you play all of the singles on the toms. Something based just with the paradiddle like this. Or different combinations. All using the straight paradiddle. Now, another great way to use this particular device is to have the paradiddle between the right hand on the hi-hat and the left hand on the snare drum. You'll notice that my hi-hat is in the middle. This is my particular playing setup, rather than having clustered sort of position like this. I also like the toms coming around like this. It's kind of a natural feel. And it's also very relevant to a lot of the percussion work I do, such as multi-sets of congas and timbales with other toms and stuff like that, that are away from the drum set. So it kind of brings the two instruments together for me. So we're just going to have the paradiddle here. Right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left. You can see I'm playing a backbeat accent. So it's a very common rhythm that you hear. Obviously, lots of different things you can do with the bass drum. Now, by using this 4-4-3 combination, gives us a lot of options to shift the rhythm off the beat, which is what we started out this lesson with. For those of you that will have seen the Steve Gadd DVD, The Clinic Live, which was on Hudson Music, he talks a lot about the way that he shifts things off the beat, and he tends to use different paradiddles to do that. The inverted paradiddle alongside the this traditional standard paradiddle, which is a perfectly great way of doing it. This configuration with the sticking that we've looked at so far is actually a brilliant way of shifting the rhythm off of the beat. So let's have a little listen to it with the click. I'm just going to play the straight back beat. There might be a little bit of variation with the bass drum, but the important thing is the paradiddle with the hands. Now we can begin to look at our T-high that I mentioned earlier on in the lesson. Ta-ti-ki-ta-tum-ta, ta-ti-ki-ta-tum-ta, ta-ti-ki-ta-tum-ta. So we're going to have a simple sticking for that. Right, left, right, right, left is the 5, and then a hit. Right, left, right, right, left. So you remember that we had 4-4-4-3 3 times, and then we have the T-high. It will sound like this. And then with the click. So these things are great for fills. They're great for, lots of different ways to embellish rhythm and come up with different ideas. So there's lots more about this in my book, Indian Rhythms with a Drum Set, which is available on Hudson Music. Stop by for the next lesson and see you soon.